Alright, back again with another video, and unfortunately I had accidentally deleted my video yesterday, and I don't know if I have everything here that I wanted to show, but I'll do the best that I can. I've been clearing off my table here. I do have some comic books I picked up. I hopefully have all three of them. Look like there's two here. There should be a third one here. There it is, and it's really hard to see, but these were $1 a piece at a local thrift store, not the Goodwill by any means. Everybody else wants $5 to $10 for old comic books now, but I got a 15-cent Flintstones and Pebbles, number 3 from 1971 for $1. So there's that one. I really want to go back and get more. There's some rips on the cover too. Then I got Barney and Betty from 1976, Barney and Betty Rubble. This is number 22, and this is a 30-center, and Barney is falling asleep at the refrigerator. And then I got the Flintstones number 1 from 1977, 30-cent, October there. Really good condition for $1. And Orca. There's some, usual wear on it, but somebody took relatively good care of this one here. I think I'm halfway through this one, or no, it was the 15-center. So 2 30-centers and 1 15, $3 was spent, so that was a good deal there, and I'll go back more. They have like several hundred, maybe 200 or 300 comic books I need to go through and sort. I was getting some autograph requests put together, but I have kind of stashed a bunch of autograph supplies, and stamps got disappeared and sort of thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Because all I had on my table was 1-cent stamps. Now I'm finding some of the larger amounts buried in boxes here, and I just got rid of crazy tons of paper, organized things, put things in pages, put photographs away and sort of thing, and recycled a bunch of stuff, and it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. I'm still in, bad shape, so it's going to take me forever to get even back to a normal thing. There's a stamp show in a couple of weeks, and hopefully that won't ruin me getting like crazy insane amounts of postcards I don't need, and hopefully I will just buy some stamps which are the right amounts there, because you buy the bigger amount ones and they disappear really quickly. The smaller amount stamps seem to be with you forever and ever and ever. I still have a crazy ton of these 4-centers floating around here. I got several pieces of mail here which I had just a minute ago, and I want to get to all of that very quickly here. And I want to show you these. These were eBay purchases. They were, geez Mikey, auction style. I could have gotten more, but I wasn't looking to buy every one. A lot of them were 75 cents, but I think I got all the 50-cent ones, or at least the ones I wanted. This is Norm Miller, because somebody got them returned and autographed, and that's the only Norm Miller I have gotten so far. So a 69 Norm Miller, and this one is card number 76 or something like that, so it's not a high number. There's some smudging on the back or some sort of part of a stamp there, but again, that's for autograph purposes, so I was happy at 50 cents, and it was like 75 cents for shipping, and then I got combined or whatever, so there's that one there. Again, I did not care. Then Dick Farrell, I don't remember if he's still around there, but I got this one here, and this is, I think, a high number. No, it isn't. This is number 531, it looks like. I think that's what it says here. The plastic, yeah, it looks like 531, so it's technically not a high number, but I think it has to be 6 something to be a high number. But still, that was 50 cents, and I think Bruce Howard and Dennis Higgins might sign, and maybe that's why I grabbed those. So I didn't have a Dennis Higgins, and I didn't have a Bruce Howard, so grab those there, and I might send those off in the next few days if I get the right amount of postage on the envelopes. And then I got a phone call a few days ago from somebody who was looking for me, and they had a piece of mail at their post office. It's called the Brownstown Post Office in Washington State. I didn't know what state. They just said the Brownstown Post Office, and I couldn't remember which state that was. Oregon, Washington, California. And there is the Brownstown mark there. They've had this for 3 or 4 years or something crazy. Maybe even longer than that. But it's been a long time. I'll try to rip this open the best as I can. Kind of want to save the envelope, but it's not working too well. And they said they've had it in their desk or previous postmaster. And I'm not exactly sure what we've got here. Okay, so there's my original envelope, and I said philatelic mail postmark request. So if I can figure out how much is on here, that'll give me an idea of how long that was sent ago. So this is, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 63 cents. So whenever 63 cents was when I mailed this off here. And then I wrote philatelic mail postmark request. And I started doing that because a lot of people did not know what that was. And then, okay, I'm not exactly sure. I might actually have Brownstown, and I didn't write down so if I got a postcard, this is not what I was asking for. They just found my return envelope in a desk. So there's no postcard there. How frustrating is that? That's weird. I gotta look through my list here and see if I have Brownstown. It's very possible, and they might have just kept my envelope there. So don't know what that was all about and why they wanted to send it to me 3 or 4 years later. Makes absolutely no sense. I got some cancels on these stamps here, but this made it all the way to Washington State. Well, there's a couple of marks there, so that partially got canceled there, but I don't know. And then they wrote a note here. Envelope. They found the envelope, not sure when you sent it. I canceled all the stamps. I hope you can still use this. Something, stamps, blah, blah, blah. Brownstown Post Office. So, whatever. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that I cannot remember, but I have to look at my list, and I don't have it right now, because I was not thinking that I would not get a postcard out of it. So I wonder if I sent that, and they sent me back my postcard. Sometimes they keep the postcard thinking that it's a gift to them, and then they keep it, and then they just kept my interesting stamps. I think that's what they did. But you know, the funny thing is I know 2 people in this area who do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. These are stamps I get from wherever, whether it's eBay or a stamp shop, or somebody sells me their old collection of stamps, which I don't do very often. I only did that one time. And then the stamp show. And a lot of times I can get stamps, dig through the boxes, and they're face value or less. If you buy a certain amount, or if you buy like the big sheets and whatever, it's just really cool to use these, because there's just no end to these, none. And like somebody sends a flyer like every month, and it's got 70s to like mid 2000s era stamps on them, and those are stamps that somebody had saved at some point, one or another, thinking that they would be a valuable commodity, and they weren't. They just weren't. So what else do I have here before I finish up here? Like I said, this is really the only thing that's on the docket here, is to figure out what I'm doing with these 4 cards here. Again, I have a kind of a minor 69 set build, because 69 seems like a relatively easy set to get the high numbers. They seem to be in low grades and low prices for a good fraction of them. So, that's something I gotta watch out for when, Black Friday hits and COMC. But I do have some film pieces on the way. They're I was gonna say they're slide format, such as this here, but they seem to be not in holders. So I gotta figure out what they are before I really do anything with them. And those are on the way. I got several other kind of non-eBay things, answering machine, some clothes, and some other stuff. All of it seems to stack up into like, oh my gosh, when is this stuff gonna get here? This just came from Las Vegas, Nevada, so it wasn't a big deal there. And really, I don't have a lot of... I sent off an autograph request yesterday. That's when I went and got those comic books. And then I still have crazy tons of these. I actually gave away a whole pile of these stamps from Angola, and they're not stamps. They're made to look like stamps, so they really have actually no value. But I bought them for next to nothing. I used them on some TTM requests just to kind of decorate the envelope, so it's kind of weird to have the Angola on there. So I might just cut the Angola off and just use these as kind of decorative things. You see it's canceled there, but it's actually part of the stamp there. And I actually recycled a bunch of those. I've got some Lions ones too, and I just threw those on there on the request just to decorate the envelopes. People were trying to figure out probably what the heck they were. And then I need to go back to the Goodwill store one of these days. I really should have bought all those crazy tons and tons and tons of 8x10 pages, but I didn't realize how many I was going to need, and I'm already out. 50 pages or more, and you're out, and I double backed everything in those 8x10 pages, and now I've dipped into my own personal collection for the 8x10 pages for my photographs that I haven't. It's insane how much I have on my list here. Not only just I have the records on my list, which, my list is getting smaller because there's things that get purchased when I'm not looking, or the price has just shot up tenfold. Things that used to be $1 now $20, $30. And then I have a bunch of pictures on my list, not mentioning the after school special pictures and a few other things, and some other public broadcasting PBS, so there's kind of a whistling noise in the background. The neighbors have got some concrete work being done or whatever. They're rebuilding some stuff and adding some more supports to their house or whatever. So, but yeah, so those are on the, and I keep getting offers. Some of them are very tiny offers, like 50 cents off, $1 off, $2 off, and not much enough to where I want to buy these sort of things. But and then there was one seller that gave me an offer the day that I purchased an item. I was like, oh, come on, you know, I could have added that to my thing. So that was, I mean, but it's just all automated usually. And I won't go back and get that one because the price was cheap enough even without the offer. When I have a few extra dollars here. Again, I have so many diversified things here. That's why I didn't buy so many Flintstones comic books, because I don't want to basically spend $40 in Flintstones comic books and then have all that money tied up in the comic books that I will read one time and then figure out I need my PBS photographs and this and other things. And I was after kind of a zip-up hoodie as well. And that was, I missed that by a couple weeks, and there aren't any other for sale, and there may never be. And then there was like some ridiculous, it's the whole eBay thing. That sold for $14.99, but you know, a similar one, which was like a zip vest or whatever, somebody was asking $100 for that, and there's no reason to ask for $100 for something just because there was a logo on it. It's not even anything that anybody would believe it was $100. I could tell you that there's a dozen people that would leave that at the Goodwill store because, you know, even for a couple bucks, because it doesn't have any value to them. It doesn't mean anything. But, you know, some people are just putting high prices on things that they've never seen before. If it doesn't any comps, they make the comps. And that's why I stopped buying a lot of baseball cards, because people are taking things like a soccer card and somebody put a $30 comp on it. Now all the comps are $30. This is a really bad time to buy Caitlin Clark cards, because she has now announced that she's out for the season and going to be toast. And everybody's bad-mouthing her right now, saying she was never all that good and she was always getting hurt and this and that and the other thing, and so there's a lot of shade being thrown, but people are bidding up stuff. The prices are absolutely through the roof on cards. People are doing this crazy thing, let's say, you know, pop, low pop, or pop 1, where they're getting like 4, a graded PSA 4, and they're putting like $40 to $50 on a PSA 4, which makes no sense at all for just, you know, a relatively common rookie card. It's just the worst time to buy anything Caitlin Clark. I haven't looked on COMC to find any. And again, regardless if she fails for the rest of her career, or she ends up, you know, Mattingly or Don Mattingly or Mike Trout kind of situation there, I will still probably get a few more cards, because it basically got people into the hobby, it got people into the sport, you know, and got people really interested, the Caitlin Clark phenomenon, you know. And I have a few cards, you know, but I can't find them at card shows, or I can't afford them at card shows, because people want full-blown retail. So that's about it, all I have here. Again, nothing really crazy to report. It was funny, I don't want to Chris cards the end of the video where I just have nothing to talk about but just stuff. But anyway, we'll see. You know, again, it's a good weekend to get things kind of worked on and organized to put together. And again, I'm feeling good because I got a lot of stuff, crazy amount of stuff organized and sorted. But, you know, and a lot of stuff is gone or going. You know, there'll be a box going out to the thrift store of all kinds of interesting stuff. And this one thrift store down here really likes all the stuff that I donate, because I said, you just donate some cool stuff. And I try to, you know, interesting baseball cards, weird stamps, things like that I don't feel like that need to go to people on YouTube that won't appreciate it. You know, DVDs and other things. I just want stuff that, you know, they like cool things and they don't want to have to, you know, if their job's boring digging through stupid clothes and old books that they have to throw in the free box because they don't have room for them. It's essentially what it is. And I've been just going through and pasting stamps on my envelope. So here's a started one here. Awesome sticker, and then there's like 8 cents on there. So I will get some larger denominations and I will eventually use that. It's the smaller envelopes that go on the inside that I always never have enough, these kind, which I never have enough room for. Now I might take some of these, but I don't like to use these kind of repurposed envelopes on the inside there if I can help it, you know. So Anyway, that was really cool to get something from Brownstown, Washington. I will double check and look and see. Now, if it was College Place in Washington, which kept on RTSing me, or not resending, I wish they would send back, but I can't do that. And again, things are different because a lot of the letters I was sending out, and it was during the pandemic, and people were just like, ugh, weird mail being sent to a post office. They had people sending, white substances and stuff into envelopes to post offices and things like that. So a lot of my mail probably got 86'd, deep 6 or 86, and so it was really frustrating, but it was something I did, with other people that were here at the time, because it was a neat deal and it was something I wanted to do, and I got to share kind of a cool hobby, which no one else in the world is doing. But I did get one last thing. I got a really cool idea. Somebody showed a celebrity in one of their videos, and I was like, oh, this is cool, I gotta send off that guy. So I've got it in my cart right now, hoping that maybe that will say, would you like this best offer type of thing. It doesn't matter, it's only like $4.75, but and that would be an amazing item if he would be willing to sign it. And I'm hoping that he will not sign the back of it. If he signs the back, then it would be all 100% for nothing and ruined. But I want him to sign the front somewhere. I just, finding trading cards of every single person is just absolutely just the pits, because you look up somebody, say, oh, I'll just grab a trading card, and the cheapest one is $40 on ComC. It's like, oh my gosh. Then the next one is like $100 on eBay. It's like, oh, still $40 versus $100 is some of them are already signed and some are not signed, and some are sticker signed, some of them are, signed on the, anyway, I'm about, 18 minutes here? That's crazy. I couldn't tell you, but it looks like, sorry, 16 minutes. Well, that's close enough. That's all I really have here, but anyway, I'm going to get these processed and sorted and hopefully started on their journey to get out to these particular people there if they sign, and thank you for watching.